onto Hanamura. As mentioned, maybe not every team's favorite map. If they can keep this ball rolling, go up 2, might very well just have a second 3-0 on our hands. Kongdoo Panthera, they're going to have to bounce back.
Yeah, so the mindset, even though these are 2 different classifications of map, and that obviously Hanamura is a point capture map, the idea of fighting close to choke points and making the most use of those is still relevant here. Especially given the opening to Hanamura, the initial temple is quite narrow and you can use one Mei wall to cover the entire thing up here. We should still expect to see teams get quite aggressive towards that opening and try and make use of that. The reason why attackers, it's a little bit easier to attack on this map than it is on, let's say, Temple Maneuvers, for example, is that high ground is available to the attacking side on that final point. It's very important. You don't have that on Temple Maneuvers, and you have to really grind through. But now if the attackers can push up the top right side and establish a good little vantage point, we can see them make huge inroads on this map and actually get fairly quick time. But it's always an absolute chaotic fight on that last point, Ilios.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the defenders spawning so close to that final point. Again, it's just going to be maybe one of those situations of just chaining that overtime over and over again until you can hopefully get the wipe on the attacking team. So it's going to be difficult for both sides as we swap through. But first, they got to make it through that giant gateway. They have to make it to the temple. So we'll see if they're able to do that, because Mei is certainly going to be a showstopper for the defenders.
Yeah, and Kongdoo Panthera looked a little bit scattered on the attacking side. They were surprised by some of the routes that Luxury Watch Red used to get to grips with them. They're going to have to be, in this situation now, ready for anything, wherever they're going to be positioned here as well. So that the onus is on Kongdoo Panthera now. Let's make it 1-1. Let's stretch this series out a little bit more. We're going to go in just a moment. And from Germany, we make a short trek over towards Japan for our second map here in this second quarterfinal. Luxury Watch Red up 1-0 against Kongdoo Panthera. A commanding showing on the defense side on Eichenwald, but it's a different map, it's a different situation. And one has to hope that Kongdoo has had a bit of a reset now to set themselves up to attack on this first point.
This is pretty much the trek that you made coming over from Germany
and Europe. The same, yeah.
All the way over here. I mean, Japan's a pretty short flight. I think it's about 2 hours from Korea. So
2-hour flight sounds so good right now.
Yeah, how do you think I feel? Every time I want to go home, it's about 14 hours,
right.
11 hours. Depends on which way you're coming back and whether or not you have those pesky connection flights. But it seems like players are good in that regard. Not going to have any jet lag as we get ready to come into this second map. But Kongdoo Panthera getting ready to line up. Looks like we might have Rascal coming through on the Tracer. Not sure if he's going to stick with that one. Try to zip his way on the side, disrupt in the back line. Or if we'll see a swap coming through. Still just 5 seconds on the clock. Of course, we have Nanohana waiting on that Mei.
So at this stage, Kongdoo, if they're going to come out with the Diva here as well, Waka Waka can go first, right? If a wall comes up, he can just zip back over the top of it with the rocket boost there. He doesn't need to worry about being isolated and desuited unless he gets hooked in midair. But Rascal on the Tracer has already made his way straight back behind lines now, and he'll be able to harass from behind.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to build up his meter as quickly as possible, get that pulse bomb, and find an opening here for LW Red so far. Evermore going to go down. Luna finding that kill with the Ana. Not exactly the pick you want to see. And there, Luna, yet again, just sniping him out. Gets a kill on a Rascal.
Yeah, Luna was on Rascal due to the whole time. He was following along, making sure that he could just get those hit scan shots and deal with Tracer there. Much more reliable way than to try and use any sort of projectile damage or long-range shotgun shots from the Roadhog there. So, Nanohana is playing the waiting game right now, really. Whoever they can get behind this wall, even if Sabiobi can hook someone and then put the wall up, that still gives them the advantage. But great wall.
Oh,
that means that we can't wall off. Nanohana didn't have the line of sight to get a proper wall, and now Kongdoo are in.
Yep, they make their way into the side building here. Shield from Butcher, getting pretty low. Same with the one from Janice. They're coming in with a wraparound, going to be looking for that entry. More taking a little bit of a spike, but no ultimates on either side quite yet, so this is going to be an all-out brawl. Eventually, it's an eventual brawl. Ball comes down. Actually, they do get an isolation here onto Butcher. He gets slept denied on the heel as well, but he's not taking a whole lot of damage. And now we can see on the side, Rascal coming through, forces the Ice Cube out onto Nanohana. Luffy goes down. That's a huge pick for Sabiobi, but he's getting frozen out. Looks like he might be able to live. The heals are there. He's getting that amplification. Nice hook through on Evermore, and they're able to find the killing blow. Huge stop coming through for LW Red.
And I have to wonder what kind of position the calling is in for Kongdoo right now. They are missing their main shot caller in this team, and perhaps they have to improvise a little bit because their target selection less than ideal. They lost Rascal right at the start of that fight, their key source of control when it got close and hot and heavy. So now they'll see Kongdoo push in yet again, Waka Waka at the front. Who are they looking for first to take out of the picture?
Yeah, they're just charging straight in. I can see Waka Waka does have that self-destruct available. It's a nice freeze coming through onto Butcher, and he is going to go down. Big picks coming through for LW Red yet again. Blizzard coming down, but it's not really going to find anybody for Kongdoo Panthera to take out. They do manage to get a kill onto Yomi, but another one is answered. Make that two as Gambler takes down Luffy. The healer's just not going to be there outside of Radio. And Kongdoo Panthera, they might just have to back off yet again. Still have that nano boost on the side of LW Red.
Kongdoo Panthera there are using a self-destruct on the point. It very much was just used for zoning. There was no way that they could force LW Red to be subjected to that nuclear blast. They were down in a 3v6 situation, then Waka Waka lets a self-destruct go, but LW Red just walk off the point and walk back on. And you can see they haven't even given a third of the progress away. Now Kongdoo really need to get their skates on, and I don't mean play 6 Lucios. They really need to make things happen, but the wall comes up, stops them from moving in again.
Oh, and they're going to get Radio with the freeze by the look of it. There it is, but he can't get the killing blow. He doesn't have the angle. He's back around the door, so Radio will live for now, but he goes low. He has to back off, and that's enough for LW Red to just stomp through Kongdoo Panthera right here in front of the gate. Almost a team kill happening right there. Evermore and Rascal able to respawn before that happens, but my God, LW Red, they are just stomping out Kongdoo Panthera's attempts every single time.
And that is the second fight in the last 3 that Nanohana has had a Blizzard. That's almost an auto win for LW Red if Nanohana just puts it in the right place, which is not hard to do. So every other fight, LW Red have pretty much a fight-winning ultimate there because Nanohana's not being picked off, he's not being taken down. He's free to do as he will, and look at that. That's the isolation. Kongdoo Panthera, they can't adapt to this. They can't respond to this Mei wall, messing things up for their team.
Well, they're going to go ahead and try to throw out a nano boost in onto Rascal, who's swapped over to that Reaper, but he doesn't have an ultimate to use, and he's going to have to go into his Wraith form and try to run his way out. He does manage to get a kill onto Gambler, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get too much else done. Hook not going to land from Yomi. And now we can see overtime coming through. That's a self-destruct to try to zone them off. Meko will actually find the Lucio in the end. Let's go ahead. Let's just nano boost Nanohana. He's got it in the name. Might as well use it. Finds a kill. Looking for more. Gets forced into the ice cube, but gets a nice wall through. But now with, headshot onto Luffy, stopping him in his tracks with that Tracer, making sure that he can't try to delay this overtime. Follows up with a double kill on the Waka Waka. And LW Red, they're going to hold the first point here on Hanamura.
Well, that was underwhelming to say the very least for Kongdoo Panthera. They had so many opportunities to get in, but for some reason, they couldn't adjust to the fact that there was a Mei in the game. It really is as simple as that. They should be expecting a wall to be there. They should be thinking cerebrally, playing around that fact. Put a Diva in, debate the wall out, send it back over the top, whatever you can do. But the fact that a Mei wall is, the Mei pick is enough to stop them there with the Blizzards coming out all the time. You cannot let the Mei get rolling and influence the game in that degree.
I mean, it's pretty inexcusable because they knew that the wall was going to be there because they blocked it with their own, at one time.
They did it once,
when they got the entry. And then they stopped doing it. They never had it happen again, and then they kept just getting isolated out. And that just led to death after death. Butcher getting caught out in Radio. So it's just really poor play from Kongdoo Panthera to start this match off.
Yeah, and look, it is important to look at the other side of the coin here because what we're seeing from Luxury Watch Red is regimented, it's very disciplined, and it's very effective. So even if Kongdoo Panthera were able to mess up the Mei wall, there was always going to be the Roadhog there on the side of LW Red just to hook someone in and get that kill immediately. LW Red has so many tools at their disposal, and they understand how to play around that first point. I talked before this game about how Mei and that first choke would be so important here, and LW Red, they know that Mei's a factor on this map, and this is the comp I wanted to see to circumvent the wall. We've got a dive comp, we've got Tracer, we've got Genji, we've got Winston, so at least half your team can respond if they get caught out by a wall, or they can get over it and charge in and find those targets and isolate them. We're talking Annas, we're talking maybe Lucios, but also Rascal on Mei could be a target here.
Yeah, we'll see how LW is going to play this one coming through. Going, like you said, back for that dive composition. It's going to be really hard to isolate anybody, but if Kongdoo Panthera can get a pick onto somebody like Luna on that Zenyatta, that could put LW Red's approaching. Stop it right in its tracks.
Again, they've got a lot to work with here, and even look, there's Zenyatta for extra damage, so they can burn down Evermore if he gets himself out of position on that Roadhog. No Roadhog for LW Red, so they're not going to be getting picks, but look at this. Tracer's already in, now we're waiting for the rest of LW Red to try and make use of that. They don't need to rescue Sabiolbi, they don't even need to do anything. They let him embed himself in the back line, and then they use the other 5 members to dive in just like this. Whoa, doesn't mean anything. Radio gets popped in midair.
Now Radio going to be the first one that goes down, and it looks like it's going to be Loving to follow suit, so now no healers for Kongdoo Panthera, and LW Red just shove right in. It's just an absolute killing spree for them. It's making such quick work of Kongdoo Panthera. They get shattered, and that is going to be the second map going over to LW Red with this capture.
Yep, class is finished. That is exactly how you get around a Mei in this meta right now. You've got a lot of things at your disposal to deal with that. And look at that, Radio didn't even get there. LW Red, that is a stunning showing here on Hanamura. They were ready for it, they were ready for the attack, they used Mei well, and then they switched it around. A completely different composition, one that was armed to the teeth, super aggressive. They isolated targets, Radio got popped mid-air midway through a jump or something similar. Perfect display, how to break a hold on a choke point. Beautiful stuff from LW Red.
Yeah, and Kongdoo, they're too slow to react. They can't work fastly enough, and they just absolutely crumble. So this puts them in a very precarious spot as we get ready to go into our third map. Again, that's going to be Ilios. And if they lose here, they're out of the tournament. And that'll be LW Red advancing to take on Rogue tomorrow.
So the silver lining here for Kongdoo, I think, is if they're in a position now where they're lacking a caller or a strong, clear voice in their team, a control point map is probably going to be their best bet up against LW Red. They're going to brawl out. They just go aggressive. It's all about pushes and ultimate timings, less about how you set up, where you sort of work around the map. So there's still going to have to be a degree of, I guess, coordination there, but it's not going to be nearly as rigorous. And you can, I don't know, let your hair down a little bit and just go for the hack and slash run and gun game style that Overwatch can be known for in some ways. That's the silver lining, but it's still not great for Kongdoo Panthera.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be thinking Bishop, wherever he is, whatever issues he's dealing with, he's got to be watching and he's got to be wondering, you know what, I wonder how differently this would be going if I was there.
I mean, it's tough. Sometimes, you know, you've got to do what you've got to do, of course. Other commitments can keep you away, but this is Luxury Watch Red looking very, very good right now. It's a mixed team, but you've got some ridiculous talent. Even the absence of Pine isn't holding them back at all. They know their compositions. They know how to execute them, even with the absence of that key player in that hit scan role. Beautiful stuff so far from Sabiolbi as well. We can see how his trace has been such, I guess, an issue to deal with. Let's now throw. We're going to go to a little bit of a break for a second. When we come back, it'll be map number 3 here. Can Kongdoo Panthera keep it going? Or will Luxury Watch Red able to knock them out nice and quickly? That's what we're waiting to see. We'll see you in a second.